थोड़ा सा हम रोकेंगे, बाकी डालें। कोई ज्वाइन ही नहीं किया। अच्छा, अच्छा, do we have any student from the international grounds? Any student over here who can only understand English? I'm talking to the online students. Any one of you? Hello? Okay, so let's start today's class. We're going to discuss the pre-scene and we'll be moving forward with the pre-scene material. Uh, let's just quickly start the class. Do we have any student who can only understand English, or otherwise I'll be conducting this entire class in Urdu? Any one of you who can only understand English, please let me know. मैंने PDF दिया है ना इसका? Okay, let's quickly start the pre-scene thing. क्या हुआ? कोई एक होगा. Okay, so let's begin with this. Basically, we're going to, but we have students for recorded batch as well. So obviously, they are going to listen it afterwards. Acha, देखिए, now this is the pre-scene that we have been given with. This pre-scene will be applicable for September 2024 exam. Again, I'm saying this pre-scene will be available in your live exam as well. Along with this, you will be receiving some of the exhibits. There is a major misconception among many students that, sir, the entire questions will only be solved through the exhibits. That is not the case. Until unless you do not know the background of the company and the background of the industry, you will not be able to identify what basic aim of those exhibits are. So, in order to have a better insight of what you need to, what is being expected from you guys in the examination, you need to have some background of the industry and some background of the company. Remember one thing, whenever we talk about the pre-scene, historically, we have seen pre-scene being given in the examinations. We have seen pre-scene being given in the sample exams, as well as the practice questions. Each and every pre-scene that we can see right now will be having some sort of similar information, right? I'm not talking about this, the similar wording. I'm not talking about the similar industry, but I'm talking about the similar form of information, which means that they are going to provide you some information about the industry. They're going to provide you some introduction about the economy. They're going to provide you some information about the company. And at the end of the day, they will be providing you some financial information. You name it, you name any of the pre-scene, it's Peel Sleep, it's Yesh Marine, it's any other company, they will be providing you similar details for all the pre-scenes that you have gone through till now, or you will be going through in your practice sessions, right? So now this pre-scene is applicable only for September 2024. So if you are trying to attempt this paper in December, or if you ought to attempt this paper in any other attempt, then this pre-scene will not be applicable. Again, around 10-15 days before your examination, the examiner normally uploads this pre-scene. Till now, you guys must be receiving this pre-scene on your portal, and you all must have received this pre-scene on your portal. So I'm assuming that each and every one of you must be getting this pre-scene being downloaded in your through your portal and in your laptops. One more thing, this pre-scene will be available on the exam day as well. But my recommendation to each and every one of you is that please do not go through this pre-scene again and again in your exam. You do not need to open this pre-scene, because if you're going to open this pre-scene, this will have an impact on your time consumption and you will not be able to write the answer. Remember, you will be getting marks only for writing the answer and not for reading it, right? So you can't tell the examiner at the end of the day, sir, I have read the entire answer, I've read the entire pre-scene, I knew each and everything, but due to the fact that I kept on reading the pre-scene again and again in the examination, I didn't got time to write the answer actually. So please give me marks. So he's not going, right? So this is how things are going to work. Now, this is how the things are going to work. So this is the industry that we are going to go through. Again, it's like a Uber or Kareem based industry. It's an online commute industry. It's an online, basically, it's an online website which pertains to the ride hailing company, right? It's an online website that pertains to the ride hailing company. We are going to start with the introduction. Okay, so let's quickly start with the pre-scene. Handout hai na? Extra hai? Let's quickly start with the pre-scene, please. Introduction. Now, what are the contents that we have been given with? We have been given with introduction. Again, this introduction is not specifically relating to any industry. This introduction is not specifically relating to the economy. This introduction is not specifically related to the company. This may be a general introduction regarding what a ride hailing company actually looks like, or what are the work methodologies of a ride hailing company. So first we have been given with the introduction, then we have been given with TNC industry information. They will let us know that how this industry will operate. They will let us know that how this industry is going to work. Then it says overview of this industry. Utar do yaar, please. Overview of this industry. Then B-Lend's market. Again, you are going to hear some similar words in the previous papers as well. And you will be hearing such industry words in this exam. Trust me, the professional jargons that you have gone through, you need to just remember those words, and the amount of information that you have right now, the amount of information that you have right now is more than enough. You do not need any further information. You do not need to do any further research. The research that we are going to do is more than enough. Please do not start doing research on your own. That okay, sir, we have gone through your research, but I guess I should research on this industry more. I should research on this company more. You do not need to do this, because you will not actually, you will be wasting time in researching. Rather than researching, it's better to practice. However, the research that is required, I will be providing each and every analysis in the upcoming classes from today onwards. So don't worry about the researches, don't worry about the practice. You just need to focus on the practicing part and not on the researching part. And that is what being recommended by the ACCA examiner himself. When he was about to launch the pre-scene thing, he basically told us that you do not need to go through any sort of researches. Please ask the student not to research any further in the information that we have already given. However, obviously, I need to connect each and everything to the syllabus area. I need to connect each and everything to the model that we have done. So we will be doing it, but you guys do not need to focus on researching any sort of further information, right? Then they have given us some TNC services, the TNC customers, TNC driver. Now, how will we be approaching this pre-scene today? What we are going to do is I'm going to make a formulated guess that, okay, now this information is being given. Actually, you guys will be helping me in making this guess. We are going to see that, okay, this information is being given to us, which means that they might be asking us regarding the Mendelow's model. They might want us to apply the risk heat map. Maybe they're in the real exhibit, they may give us some of the risk exhibits. They may ask us to make some presentations on the risk that is being given in the exhibit, because it seems that from the background of the company, there are certain risks that the company is facing, and if in order to mitigate those risks, we may be asked in the real examination to give recommendation or to give the impact of that specific risk. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Then the ride hailing company and the ride sharing process. Now, basically, before going into the details, let me tell you that the ride hailing company works in two different methods. The first method is the specific method of you calling a ride through your mobile phone application, and the other method is that you pulling up for a ride. Now, what do you mean by carpooling? Basically, this is a new trend that is being introduced in different parts. Even you guys must be now aware of what carpooling means. Carpooling means the sharing of the cost of a specific car and commuting from one place to another. That is, four people are basically sharing the cost, and they are, let's suppose, they are riding to the nearby stations. So, the ride hailing company and the ride sharing process, industry challenges, latest developments, food delivery, driverless autonomous cars, electric vehicle. So I'm assuming that these are the three different services that the industry might offer. Now there might be a chance that our company is just offering one specific service, and there may be a chance that the examiner may want you to introduce another business model or another strategic business unit into the product line that we already have. For example, in the exhibits or in the case study further, they may have given you that we are just focusing on the ride hailing side, that is delivering the customer from one place to another, and we are no more into the food delivery. Maybe he may give you some information that there is a business model, there's a virtual business model that is already operational, and their only domain is the food delivery. Now, that specific person is in consideration of selling his company to some other company, or maybe you have a proposal of buying that company. And in the exhibit, they may give you some financial information of that specific company. They may ask you that you can use your strength, and how can you use your strength in order to, let's suppose, in order to get that specific company and make it profitable. And they may ask you what challenges will you be facing if you buy that food delivery company. Now there can be two prospects. That food delivery company may be in your own economy, or it may be in the economy that is nearby you. So he may ask you to draft a political, economical, social, and technological factor of that specific economy. Or he may ask you that what strength and weaknesses where can you be identifying in your company, and what strength can you use can you use it internally for the flourishment or the productivity of that specific proposed company. So this is how the examiner might test you in some different instances. Now, my suggestion is when you are, attending this class, it's better that you start writing on some points that, okay, this can be ours, and this, and let's suppose this model can be applied to the situation. बेटा rejoin करो, Google उसको Zoom को log out करके दोबारा log in करो. Okay, moving further. It says just a minute. Okay. Then again, in each and every pre-scene that we have gone through till now, there are certain key performance indicators being given by the experts. They always give you key performance indicator, and it is the best way to formulate a case study. This is basically a case study, right? Then the regulation again. Whenever I hear the word of regulation, my minds pop up with a concept of corporate governance. So this means that when he is letting you know regarding the regulation of a specific industry, he might ask you that the corporate governance requirement that are specifically applying to this company. Then, in addition to pesticide, what need to be suggested as a guest? Compliance seems more feasible. Let's just yell into the information, then we'll conclude that what is more. Okay. Then we have a company's overview as well. Thank you, Beta. Let's just quickly move towards the company's information, please. Let's just quickly move towards the company's information. We have been given with the information of the company, that is Diego overview. Again, we have been given with the background, Diego growth, ownership, services offered by Diego. Now, we know it very well that the industry services includes food delivery, driverless, and electronic vehicle. But look at this: ride hailing and ride sharing services, micro mobility, and business services. I don't know what micro mobility is, and I don't know what business services are. However, there are chances, there seems to be some chances of introducing a new strategic business unit into the business products that are already. Then technology used by Diego. Now, this give me an insight that they might go for some big data question as well. They might go for some big data question, and more specifically, the examiner will be interested in asking you the drawbacks of the big data, because this is a ride hailing company, so it will be requiring the customer's information. So what are the threats of using the big data technology and using the customer's data, and what are the benefit? So you know it very well. We have already done this type of question. Yes, PSS. In PSS, we have already gone through such a question in which we basically identified the benefit of big data as well as the drawbacks. Then Diego staff, senior leadership structure, and the key risk. Congratulations, we have the key risk being identified in the pre-scene itself. So remember, now there are very fair chances that they may give you some information in regard with this risk in the form of exhibit, and they may ask you that what are the impact of this risk, and what recommendation would you give in this specific risk. So please be very vigilant. Please be very vigilant when you are writing down some of the expected questions. Then they have also given you the Diego's website key website extract, and the KPIs is also being given. So let's just quickly move towards the introduction of the transport industry. Diego is a transport network operating in a country of billion, which has a population of around 200 million people. So this means that it's a transport company, but they have not identified if it is a limited liability company or a private company. But let's assume that they may let us know afterwards. Operating in the country of Bilin, which has a population of around 200 million people. So there are 200 million people, which means it's a highly populated area, and it's a highly populated economy. Diego was established 12 years ago. So it's a history of company that they are working since last 12 years, and has since grown to become the second largest TNC business in the Beeline. Now, this is very important because, they are basically providing us the information that this is the second largest company in since last 12 years. It has grown to such an extent that it has reached the height of being the second largest company in the transport network company in the Beeline based on revenue and customer number. So this specific criteria of being the second largest is only on the basis of footfall as well as the revenue, which means that should always be the criteria. Revenue should be the only criteria. However, they have given us the criteria on the basis of revenue and the number of repetitive customers that we receive on year basis. So good that it is the second largest company. Now, there are 2-3 things that I need to know. It's this company has been developed 12 years ago. This is the second largest company in terms of revenue and the success. So it's a highly successful company, and there are 200 million people around which this company is operating. So I can identify some of the potential demand of this entire company, and I can identify the growth objective as well, right? So TNC information, industry information. Let's just quickly go through the overview again. As soon as I go through the transport network company, I get an idea that this is basically a company which is moreover connected through Uber and Careem, right? A TNC is a business which provide on-demand transportation services to consumers through a website or mobile app platform. So this business basically operates through two different mediums, either through the website or mobile phone. Now, there may be a question of making the website more user friendly. There may be a question of making the mobile app more convenient for the customer. They may ask you that the mobile app is now introducing a blockchain technology in which the data is not only being secured, but we will revolutionize the experience of customer going through this application. So how can this benefit in customer retention? So there may be a question like this as well. Unlike the traditional taxi cab hire businesses, TNC do not maintain their own fleet of vehicle, which means it is exactly the Uber operating model of Uber operating in this basic concept, right? Because Uber also don't own even a single vehicle themselves, right? So the vehicles are also the third person ownership, and the drivers are also the third person. It just work as an agency relationship between the customer and between the individual who are driving this vehicle. Unlike the taxi cab hire businesses, TNC do not maintain their own fleet of vehicle or employ drivers directly. Instead, individuals drivers of cars work as independent contractors for TNC. Consumers or customers request a ride through the TNC platform and are then connected to a contracted driver who is also connected to the platform. So it's a simple process. There are two parties involved directly, and there is an indirect controlling party, which is a company. The TNC is the controlling party, and then there is a party which is with the name of a private contractor of the or the car owner, and then there is a party in the name of customer. So there are two different parties who are directly involved in this process, and there is a controlling party that controls the entire element of the transaction. Then individual drivers of the car work independent as an independent contractors for the TNC customers, request a ride through the TNC platform, and are then connected to a connected contracted driver who is also connected to the platform. For the purpose of the pre-scene and the case study, the term TNC will be used to define the business. Remember, now it is saying that whenever you are going to sit in this examination, whenever I say the term TNC, I'm not going to use the full word of the Biego. The term TNC will be used to define the businesses which offer the range of services outlined on the page number 3 and page number 4. So there are different range of services. Whenever he is going to say TNC, it means the entire businesses that are operating in this economy, not only one company. BLN has a well-developed economy. Remember, now this can go into the political part. When, let's suppose if I'm applying the PEST model, BLN has a well-developed economy where 80% of its population live and work in its urban area. So this means that remaining 20% population is in rural area. Now, if I divide the population number, it's 200 million. So if I divide this 200 million, which means 40 million are right now working and living in the rural area. Now, there can be a chance of the company stating that we would want to introduce our service in the rural area. Maybe they are just operating in the urban area and they would want to introduce their services in the rural area. Now, the question may be what challenges the company will face if they operate in the rural area. The first challenge is going to be the infrastructure, that is the road infrastructure, which is one of the biggest challenges that the company is going to face. Then the second challenge could be that the people will not be aware of how to use the application in comparison to the urban areas, because the level of education and the level of knowledge of the people who are living in the rural area will not be as upgraded as the people of the urban area. So these are the specific questions that may be asked in the examination. I'm just giving an educated guess just by reading the information over here, right? Now, this is just a verbal, analysis. I'll give you a written analysis tomorrow. In tomorrow's class, we'll go through the written analysis and we'll connect the entire examination through the entire, we'll connect the entire scenario to the entire topics that we have already done, right? It says that Beeland has a developed, well-developed economy, and nearly 80% of its population live and work in its urban area. Its public transport facilities, including buses and trains, have come under increasing pressure in the recent years due to the rapid growth urban population, leading to overcrowding and unreliability. Beeland government is therefore supportive of innovative ways to address the transport challenges, which means that the urban population is right now growing by heaps and bounds. The urban population is growing a lot, leading to overcrowding and unreliability. So these are the two issues that we in Pakistan also used to face when the first ride-hailing service of Oman and Kareem was introduced locally. BLM government is therefore supportive of innovative ways to address the transport challenges facing the country's many cities. TNC has have proved to be popular in the cities as they offer a convenient and reasonably priced alternative to public transport. So they are offering a convenient, which means that it is not a premium service provider. It is just a convenient and a budget service provider. For example, when I'm booking a cab through Uber or Careem, I get an option that you can offer the premium car for yourself, or you can call a budgeted, maybe with an air conditioner or without an air conditioner car, which means that no frill strategy or maybe a premium strategy. So this information let us know that in the company is right now popular just because of providing the reasonable price alternative to the public transport. The government of the BLN sees the TNC as an alternative to people owning and using their own car. So now, basically, I have also seen this in Turkey, that outside every specific home, I used to see at least 2 to 3 cars. And I was amazed over the fact that many of the individuals over there, they are not driving their cars themselves. In fact, they are not taking out their cars at all. Why? Because they just own these cars and they use it on the weekends. The major transport system over there was metro stations and the cab. The cab was quite cheap, and the metro was very, very cheap. So normally the people of the economy where the traffic congestion is a lot, so people normally tend to go through these ride-hailing companies or through the metro. So they have not told us about the metro, but I'm just giving you an example that outside every single home, I used to see at least 2 to 3 cars, and they were all idle. They were not being used, and people normally use the public transport to commute from one place to the other. So this is a trend right now in this specific economy as well. So let's talk about the Beelan's market. It says Zinbi is Biego's main competitor. So let's just quickly go through the competitors' information. Zinbi is one of the biggest competitor and was the first TNC business established in Beelan 14 years ago. Okay, so how old are we? 12 years ago. The competitor, our direct competitor, is 14 years ago. Now, it does not mean that it is the largest. Let's see if they have given the further information or not. Zenbi is currently the largest TNC operating in Beeland and is also the world's second largest TNC, currently operating in over 50 countries. So we are right now operating in this economy, but our competitor have a worldwide experience. So there may be a question that one of our competitors, let's suppose a company, they are dissolving or they are calling for a buyout, and we are interested in buying that specific company in that specific industry or economy. So we can go for such expansion as well. So I'm getting a presumption that you need to revise the SFA model. I'm getting a presumption that you guys need to revise the SFA model once again, because there may be chances of going for a acquired growth rather than an organic growth. If they go for the organic growth, they can, just let you know that we are increasing the number of offices, or maybe we are moving towards the rural area. That will be the organic growth. However, if they want, they may ask you that we want to buy another company, or we want to buy our competitor from some other economy. So Biego was established two years. I'm not talking about Zenbi. I'm not talking about Zenbi. I'm talking about any other competitor in any other company, in any other economy. I'm not talking about this company. Biego was established 2 years after Zenbi. Obviously, we are 12 years old, so it's like we are 2 years younger than Zenbi. And over the year has gradually obtained a significant portion of Zenbi's market share. Now, this is an interesting information that over a year we have grown to such an extent that we have taken the market share of Zenbi's as well. Biego only operates in BLED. Now, this is a very important. This is the information that I wanted to hear. So this means that it's a clear-cut chance of this question being asking from you that we want to acquire another company in another economy. I am betting over the fact that you will be getting an exhibit of, let's suppose, can be company in PQR economy. Can be company in PQR economy, and they will let you know the financial statement of that specific company. They will let you know the political, social, technological, and ecological factors over there. And they may ask you that you need to have a comparison of what you guys are doing better. And if you guys tend to, buy that specific company, what will happen at the end of the day? They may also ask you that it seems to be a private company. Well, it seems to be a private company. So they may ask you that in another economy, PQR, there is a company that is being wholly operated by the public sector. Now, we are being told that the private sector is allowed to buy that specific company. What challenges are you going to face? And let's suppose they may tell you that we are announcing a buyout. However, there is a press release that states that we are receiving negative comments from the overall stakeholders community. They may ask you that how to cope up with these negative comments and how to give a counter argument over these negative comments. You are an external business analyst, or you are an internal business analyst, and you need to draft a report as to how to counter the negative report that is being presented in the press release. So these are the expected questions that he can ask you during your examination, right? Again, it will depend upon the exhibit that is being given. So it says Biego only operate in BLEND. The local authorities of each city sets its own criteria for allowing operation license to TNC and their drivers. Several TNC businesses have been attracted to the BLEND market in the last decade, but most of these currently only operate within a limited number of cities. At the end of 20x3, together Zembi and Biego held 85% of the TNC's market share. I'm the second largest, and the other Biego, Zenbi is the largest. So 85% goes in the market, in the bucket of these two companies. The remaining percentage is being shared between the competitors. So if they are going to ask you that you are buying a competitor, a small competitor, and you just need to analyze this, you need to take into consideration that we already have the 85% market. We cumulatively have the 85% market. So we need to give a good consideration of the share that specific company is right now retaining. That third company will be having some share, maybe 1%, 2%, or 3% of the market. Obviously, if there are 20 competitors, there are 30 competitors. Let's suppose if there are 30 competitors, though maybe the company who want to dissolve themselves is just getting 3% or 4% of the market share. So you need to give into consideration that just for the 3% market share, is it good enough to enter into this market? Or is it better to enter into a foreign economy or any other business domain, right? So they may give you a comparison as well, that we are about to invest either in a small player in buying out a small player, or we may introduce another strategic business unit in the line of products that we already have, right? So they may ask you to make a financial comparison, they may ask you to make a non-financial comparison, and they may ask you to go for an SFA model as well. Remember, if you guys do not know which model to apply, if you guys do not know, let's suppose if you are not able to identify the SFA pointers, then it's better to go for the financial and non-financial. Is it clear? Okay. Then it says several TNC businesses have been attracted to the B-Lens market in the last decade, but most of these currently only operate within a limited number of cities. At the end of T0X3, together Zimby and Biego holds 85% of the TNC market share in the B-Lens. It's very, very important. Customers registered with TNC in B-Lens have doubled in the last 8 years. Now, all those customers who have registered with the TNC have doubled in the last 8 years. By the end of 20X3, 25% of the B-Lens population were active users of the TNC services. So it says that customer registered with the TNC in the B-Lens have doubled in the last 8 years. By the end of 20X3, 25% of the B-Lens population were active users of the TNC. Now, you know one thing, since last maybe 6 months, I'm not using Kareem and Uber. So yesterday I received an email from Uber that we are deactivating your account because of non-usage. If you want to keep on continuing, just click on your Uber website and log into it. So this means that they know how many customers are active users, and they know how many customers have not used their services since last 6 months. Even I also received this information yesterday through the Uber's website. Then it says, maybe yes, 100%. Bilkul. However, competition from the customers also come from traditional taxi cab. Now, the yellow taxi that we used to see in our economy, that is also our competition. Again, we are the ride-hailing services using the telecommunication network. There is a yellow cab, or there is another cab services that we can just go outside the premises and I can get that cab services. So that is also a direct competition that we are facing. So we should know our direct competitors, we should know our alternate products. And from the public transport, including the trains and buses. I don't think so that he may ask you to move towards operating their own buses. And I don't think so that he may ask you to move towards this traditional heritageal taxi cab that we used to call historical, because this is not a modern trend, right? So let's look at the TNC market share in the B-Lens. It says that in 20W0 and in 20W1, the Zimby, okay, Zimby has the highest market share in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and it keeps on continuing. However, Biego has a market share which is substantial. But over here, you can see one thing. It is not even 50% of the Zimby's market share in the initial year. Maybe over here you can see that the Biego's market share is near to 35%, maybe 38%, 35, 38%. However, yes, it's below 40%. However, if you look at the Zimby's market share in 20X3, it is near to 55 or 56%. So the difference over here is around 15-20%, right? So they are performing well. Biego company is performing well, but look at the figures that is being given in the form of others. Now, I don't know how many competitors they are going to introduce in the exhibit, or maybe they may have introduced in this pre-scene as well. But this gives me a clear insight that the competitors, other than the Zimby and the Biego, they are very, very minute, and they're very mediocre in this industry. They do not have a substantial market share. They have a very, very small market share in this specific industry. Azan ho gayi. Let's have a namaz break for 5-10 minutes, and then we'll continue. Okay, let's assume सर हमारे पास जो है वो sorry. Okay, so this was the market share that is being given by the examiner. Then it says that TNC's user growth in BLEN, so it's an ever growing market, right from 2000 to 20x3. The market is increasing in its numbers, and it has reached to a height of 49 million dollar. I'm assuming it's the prices are given in dollar. So the TNC services, service right sharing description. Now we need to carefully understand the description of these services, because he may ask you to analyze these services, and there may be a question that there is a service that is right now given a loss to the company, and we are in consideration of closing down that service. Now if you want to close down that service, you need to make sure that you first understand the methodology of working through that service, right? So be very much vigilant in understanding what the specific services are and how do they basically work. It says the term ride sharing refers to the sharing a ride with other passengers. Okay, so it says that the ride sharing services basically means that you are sharing the ride with some other individuals. The term ride sharing refers to the sharing of ride with other passengers. A shared rides allow multiple and unrelated customers with pickup and drop off location along the same or similar route. So the nearby pickup locations or the nearby drop-off locations normally work in this methodology. Uh, to share the vehicle for a journey, usually at a discounted price. So if it was the single person taking the entire service, this services will be offered at a discounted price. Both Zenby and Viego were initially established to offer a ride-sharing service, enabling the drivers and the customers to connect and share a ride. Okay, so we both used to offer, were initially established to offer a ride sharing services, enabling the drivers and the customers to connect and share the ride. Okay, now we both used to offer this service. However, ride sharing services aims to reduce the number of single occupancy ride within the cities, reducing congestion and impacting positively on the environment. I'm getting an insight that there may be a pestle analysis in your first or second question, because these are the hints that are being given to us. There may be a pestle analysis being asked in the specific question. The cost of the ride is also shared between each customers, making it a cost-effective transportation offer. Customers must specifically request a shared ride on the TNC platform to use the service. So this is how the things are going to work. I don't know why he has used the word initially, because maybe they may give you an option of either closing down the service, but I don't know why it says were initially established to offer a ride sharing service. Maybe he is trying to say that we initially started off with this specific service, and then with the span of time, the both these companies added on with the other services. Maybe this is a perspective that the examiner is trying to attain. Ride hailing, then again it is like a singular person or a family going through one single ride, and paying the entire price. It says the term ride hailing refers to when a customer requests a driver to take them to exactly where they need to go. This can be achieved by virtually hailing a ride from the TNC business using their app to the website. Using a traditional taxi cab business, this would be achieved by hailing a taxi cab from the street or making a phone call to book one. Ride hailing is the most popular service offered by the most TNCs, including Zenbi and Diego. This means that both these services we are currently offering, these rides can be on demand or scheduled in advance. Initially when Kareem and Uber were launched, they used to offer an entire year packages as well for all the corporate clients. For example, if you want to ride from your home to your offices, so many people used to buy 6 month, 3 months, or 1 year packages as well. So it is talking about this package that you can even schedule your ride in advance. For example, you can schedule your 1 month ride in advance, and this will give you a discounted price as well. Micromobility refers to a network of shared bicycles. Now this is very common. Many of you must have gone through to the Saudi Arabia for Umrah, right? So you must have seen Kareem bikes as well, Kareem bicycles, Kareem bikes. This is very common nowadays. You can just go nearby a corner, just have your own Kareem bike and start riding it. Once you are done, you can just keep it near the charging station. They are going to charge you an amount of money through your card, and you are done and dusted. In fact, I can tell you one example of rent a car. Recently, when I went to Dubai, I basically rented a car, and I got that car from airport. Right? Let's suppose once I had done with the services, and I was completely satisfied with the service, what I decided is that okay, I need to drop off the car back to that specific rental shop. So I was told by the rental people that no, you do not need to drop that car over there. You just need to drop the car wherever you are. We are going to charge the card, and our agent will come over there and he'll take the car themselves. So this is how these services are basically working, right? And this is how the ride hailing services or in many other services basically work at this way. Then it says that consumers bicycles are located at fixed docking station. Docking station is like a place where the bicycles are being parked. In the key location around the city, the docking station contains a terminal to release the bicycle. Uh, Customers use the TNC platform to book and pay for the bicycle rental. On completion, okay, now in order to book and pay, there is a platform which is being used. Again, I'm getting an insight, I'm getting a perspective that they may go for the big data analytics. They may go for a question on big data because they are using this big data in order to generate information about the customers. They are using this big data in order to generate about the customers' preferences, in order to generate the analysis of how many customers are using bikes, how many customers are using the carpooling services, and how many customers are just using the singular car services around the city. On completion of the booking, customers are provided with a code to unlock the device. From the same as the case with the Kareem as well. I have gone through this. When I made the payment on the platform, I got a code. I just entered that code on the screen of that Kareem bike, and I was basically that was not a bicycle. However, it was a scooty type thing, an electronic scooty that I drove from one place to another. I used it from the place to Kuba. Yes, I used it till Kuba Masjid. So it was a superb experience, very smooth, and you do not need to take care of if your bike may be taken by some unauthorized individual or not. That is this case only in Pakistan, not in other countries. Right? The bicycle can be returned to the docking station at the end of the hire period. Micro mobility options are often used by the customers to complete the last part of their journey. What do you understand by this? When I'm returning back to my home, rather than going for the car, I can use this service in order to save some cost, right? Such as bicycle from a bus or train station to their workplace. For example, if I want to move from my home to the bus station, I can use this bicycle service. If I want to move from the workstation to the bus station, then I can, use this bike service. Normally, it has some limited number of customers only, right? Then it says now they have not told us that these services are being offered by Zembi and Diego or only one of them. So I'm assuming that there is no information being given. Okay. Service customers rental. Let's look at the description of the service customer rental. Customer rental is a partnership agreement between the TNC and the local and national car rental businesses, where customers can book a rental car. Now, this is something that I basically booked in Dubai. Like the name, there was a lease services that was being offered, and I booked a service, a car rental service, because in Middle East you can drive your car if you have an international license. So this is how the car rental services basically work over there. It says the focus is on minimizing the need of the car ownership and making car rental a viable and an easy alternative for the customer. I have even heard that in the Middle East side, they are offering car for 6 months, 8 months, and 1 year as well. For example, if you don't want to own a car, however, you want to use it for 1 year, you can make some specific payment for that car rather than owning it in the complete life, and you can use it for 1 year. After you are done with that one specific year, you can return back to the car, and the other person is going to use it. So it's like an operating lease service being offered by these car rental or the service providers as well. Then it says the focus is on minimizing the need for the car customers. Customers can arrange for car rental normally for a period of 1 to 14 years directly through the TNC, who arranges for a driver to pick up and drop off. The customers at the car rental businesses pays a commission to the TNC for each car rented booked through the TNC platform. So there is a commission also being paid to the service providers. Then it says the business services. Business services are offered by the TNC to range of businesses to assist their employee to commute effectively and travel to events and meetings. It's like, for example, if I'm planning to take all my colleagues to the beach for a picnic, so they may be providing some services in this regard as well. Also, businesses use TNC to provide courtesy transport for their customers and clients. What do you understand by the word courtesy transport? Initially, Bahria town in Karachi, they started off with their own buses. It's like a hop on and hop off bus, right? So, for example, whenever there is an investor who would want to invest in that specific community, what that community used to do is they used to call the people and they used to call their clients and they offered them a service that, okay, sir, if you want to visit the entire community, you can hop on to this bus, just have a quick visit for 1 or 2 hours. We'll offer you some refreshment. Come back to us, and if you like the place, then you can, let's suppose, pay us an amount for the booking of a specific flat or a plot. Right. So this is like the courtesy services. These are the courtesy transport services that they are offering to the client. Business services solution helps the client businesses to reduce cost, save time, and streamline their own grounds transportation activity. So this is how the businesses help the other businesses to develop. Now, tell me one thing. This service of ride sharing, is it business to consumer or business to business? This is more oftenly being used by B2C. Remember, now this is something which is very specific that I think that you should know, right? Ride hailing service, again, B2C. Micro mobility, again, B2C. However, no. Service rental, maybe this may be used by B2C and B2B as well. Why? Because, if you want to send your colleagues to some client that is right now in the far skirts area, so you can use these services. For example, if I want to go from my city to the Daviji plant, normally the company offer me the car rental service and they ask me that you can go through this service. And this service is specifically for the B2B. Is it clear? So why am I saying this? Maybe there is a meeting exhibit being given in the real examination that the company is now focusing on B2B services and would want to have an analysis of how to introduce more B2B services in their business domain. So you can give some suggestions in this regard, right? Then it says the TNC customer. The TNC customers use their TNC to travel from one point to another such as commuting to and from the work, exploring cities, and to shops at local businesses. To become a customer, an online account must be created. It's same. We just need to sign up on the specific platform, and we can make our own account on a TNC website or mobile customers app. The customers must enter their personal details, name, address, and email. I am 110% sure that he's going to ask a big data question. He's going to ask you the threat and benefit of having big data. Because of the fact that he have told us several times that they are collecting customer data, they are collecting customers data, they are collecting customer data. This means that there are fair chances he may ask you some of the benefits and threat of introducing the big data or any related technological upgrade or improvement. It says they must also input the credit and debit card details. Again, big data threat. Again, one of the biggest threat. If you do not have a good firewall, I'm saying this word with all inclusion of no political comment in between, right? If you have a firewall incorporated very well when you are, using the customer data in order to receive the payment or in order to make any refund, this is a big data problem and a very serious threat that you need to identify if you are being asked in the real scenario. So it says that the customers must enter their personal details, name, address. They must also put input of the credit and debit card. All payment to the TNC are made electronically through the TNC platform. Once registered, customers can choose from the range of services offered by the TNC. To book a ride hail or a ride share, the customers must enter their required pickup location or use a global positioning system, GPS, on their phone and a destination. This means that you can directly locate yourself through the GPS or you can manually enter where you are actually standing. A price for the ride is quoted at the point of booking, which the customer must confirm to accept the ride. A notification of the ride request is then automatically sent to the TNC driver app. Now, one more thing. Learn from the current businesses that you have in your economy. I don't know if it says that the prices are fixed or not. Have they quoted somewhere? Let's suppose if we assume that the prices are fixed, and he may ask you to provide a good competitive business analysis as to how can we increase the number of customers. You can learn from your own ride hailing services, because in Pakistan right now all the ride hailing services are offering you a feasibility that you can quote your own price, right? You can quote or counter your own price, and if the driver is willing to accept that price, if you are willing to accept the price, then and only then he's going to accept the ride for you. So if they say that we need to bring a counter marketing strategy in order to lead into this competitive world, you may introduce them with this specific price liberty service, right? It says the price for the ride are quoted at the point of booking, which the customers must confirm to accept the ride. A notification of the ride request is then automatically sent to the TNC driver's app. Once the driver has confirmed the acceptance of the ride, customer app notifies the customer of the driver's profile, the vehicle model, and the vehicle registration number. Trust me, there is a question on big data analytics because of the fact that we are collecting not only the customer's personal data, but we are also collecting the customer's travel data. So there should be a question on implementing of some firewall or implementing on some policies of making this data more secure and what threat the company is right now currently facing. It says the vehicle model and the vehicle registration number, which allows the customers to check the driver's detail before getting into the vehicle. The customer's app track the arrival of the driver or the in-app map so that the customers can check the progress of the driver's arrival. At the end of the ride, payment is automatically deducted from the customer's bank and credit card. Now, please don't give a suggestion that the payment should be in cash.
that is only applied in Pakistan, not in other countries, right? So there are no more cash economies being promoted around the world. So please, if there is any suggestion that is being asked, please do not give a suggestion that you should encourage the cash payment or you should provide the cash payment facilities to the customer. That is the least interested element that the examiner would want to read in your answer, right? Then the TNC driver. To drive a TNC, a driver must register on the TNC website or a driver app. The driver must choose the city they wish to drive in. The driver must hold a full B-Lens driving license and a private car hire license authorized by the local authority of the city they wish to drive in. The driver must also upload a recent photo so that the customers can identify them when being picked up. A driver is not authorized to drive until all necessary background checks have been verified, including the criminal background, driving offenses, and medical health check. These background checks are normally carried out by the third party's expert provider. There may be a question that from the stakeholders' perspective, this big data analytics will have some benefits and threat. Identify what benefit and threat do you see in the above given scenario. Now, majority of the students are going to write the benefit and threat only with the perspective of the customer. But remember, you need to write it through the perspective of the entire stakeholder community. That is it can go wrong for the drivers as well, and it can go beneficial for the drivers and the customers as well. So please make sure if he's using the word stakeholder, you write a 360 holistic opinion in your specific answers. Then, once verified, a driver can accept a requested ride by clicking accept in the driver's app. There is no technical jargon used in this entire scenario. You can see it is a very basic English model that is being presented to you. It's a very basic scenario. It's just like a book reading of a specific industry without having any story. There is no storytelling in this. We are just reading about an industry and a company, and very, very basic. So you do not need to research anything in this, right? It says most TNC requires driver to have a vehicle, which means specifications relating to the age and condition of the vehicle, which must be fully insured. However, drivers do not need to own their own vehicle. Many TNC drivers uses leased vehicle to drive for the TNC, and some TNC offer leasing facilities to their driver. Now, I'm assuming there may be a government contract being introduced to the company. There may be a government contract being introduced to the company. However, in order to get that government contract, the company need to comply through, let's suppose, the transport legislation requirement. I'm just assuming that there is a transport legislation requirement that the company need to comply through. Remember, now this transport legislation requirement is being required, and the contract is of around $190 million. Identify how the company need to take into control in order to get the specific contract in the bucket of the company. So now the first thing that you will be writing is to identify what is the basic requirement of that contract. There may be a requirement that the vehicle cannot be older than 3 years. So you'll first have to identify that how many vehicles that are already registered with the company are older than 3 years. There may be a requirement that the driver cannot be more than the age of 50. There may be a requirement that each and every individual who is registered with the company should go through a training process of around 3 months. So you will have to identify that first we'll be looking at the requirement of that specific transport legislation. Once we identify the requirement, we will make a variance analysis. And once we are done with the variance analysis, we'll try to identify the ways of reducing this variance to the acceptable limits and then register to the requirement. Maybe there might be a presentations like being see, the number of questions that you're going to do from now onwards should be at least 5 to 6. Why am I recommending this is because, all these questions that in next 5 to 6 attempts that you are going to do, it is going to give you a clear insight that there's a repetition of question just by changing the name from Biego to Mayland or Bland. This is how the examiner basically draft a question. There is a possibility of examiner asking you that we are entering into a public sector contract. And this contract is going to be one of the major contracts in terms of revenues. And this is one of contract, and we are about to enter into this contract. First we just used to go through singular type of customer. Now we have a group of customer, or the government is trying to introduce the tourism industry, and we would want to flourish this tourism industry. So what is your recommendation? Because there is a legislation that need to be fulfilled before getting into this contract. So you all have done the PSS contract, the PSS question, and it says the same, right? The EMAS requirement. Okay. I hope so. Online students are also getting what I'm trying to explain. Just give me a thumbs up if you are getting each and everything. If you want to ask question, you can ask me at the end of the class. Okay, great. It says, drivers do not set their own prices. Okay. Each ride price is calculated by TNC and is based on a standard rate plus fare plus a charge per kilometer. TNC pays each driver between 75% to 85% of the price, and each ride is completed. Now you may be asked with the question that how to motivate the drivers to increase the number of sales. Yes, there should be some annual bonuses being offered to the Kareem drivers or to the Biego drivers. These annual bonuses should be based on the number of rides that each driver is able to complete. It should be on the basis of rating. Now they may ask you that they may give you an exhibit in which the customer satisfaction data is being provided, and they may ask you that how to improve this customer satisfaction data. So this is how you are going to improve the customer satisfaction data: by taking regular feedback from the customer, by announcing the star employee who was able to satisfy each and every customer, and he was able to get a rating of 4.5 plus. So this is how you will be, maybe you'll be given the scenario in the real exam. In BLAN, drivers working for the TNC are recognized as independent contractor. Now, do you know what independent contractors are? Whenever I hear the word of independent contractor, my mind skips up into IFRS 15. I don't know why I think of IFRS 15. What is the revenue criteria of self-employed? And you can also have a tax impact. If you must have gone through the F6 notes, you must have heard this word of self-employment and the independent contractors, and not employees of the TNC. This allows the drivers to choose their own working hours. This flexibility attracts a wide range of drivers, including students, retired individuals, and part-time workers. There may be a question that how to introduce more and more drivers into this business, how to drive more and more people into this business, how to make sure that more people are motivated to it. So you can have some open houses in the universities, so that you can let the people know that how they can earn a pocket money while they are studying. You can have some sessions, online sessions. You can code some social, you can do marketing on the social media platforms. So this is how we're going to do. There may be a question in this as well. The ride hailing and ride sharing process. Now, what is the ride hailing and the ride sharing process? A registered customer logs onto the customer app or website and requests a ride. Simple process. A price for the ride is quoted on the app website, and the customers confirm the acceptance. The ride request is immediately sent to the driver's app. A registered driver accepts the ride via the driver app and is allocated the ride. When the driver accepts the ride, the customer is notified on the customer's app of the driver detail and expected arrival time at pickup location. Same is the case with you guys. You guys have practically gone through this industry many times. The customer can track the driver's progress using the customer app and also view the route allocated for the requested ride. The driver arrives at the specified pickup location and checks the customer's name and destination location. The customer checks the vehicle and driver's detail. Once customer and driver details have been checked, the driver picks up the customer and drives to the requested destinations. When the ride is complete, a payment is automatically taken from the customer's credit or debit card. The customer is then required to complete a driver rating score. Now, how to motivate the driver? You can add up with a point of tipping the driver. Now, this culture, do you know that in America the tipping culture of these drivers and the restaurant individuals, it is on its peak. So you can introduce, you can pick up a point that this may be a motivational factor. If at the end of the ride, before completion of the ride, the driver can ask, if you want to tip me some amount, you can just add this amount, and this amount will be deducted from the debit or credit card. Industry challenges. TNC operations are subject to global economic condition, including the resulting impact on spending by customers. Slow economic growth, recession, or increase in fuel costs can decrease the customer. Now, these are the industry challenges. Can decrease the customers, your consumers' spending power or confidence, which hinders the TNC's operation, resulting in lower revenues and earning. Now, there may be a question relating to the political, economical, social, and technological. Growth of the TNC business depends on the ability to attract and retain qualified drivers. Now, it does not mean that they are all educated. It means that they are qualified in the sense that they have a proper driving license, who satisfy the required screening criteria and increase the available drivers' operating hours. If TNC do not provide the drivers with flexibility and opportunity to earn sufficient income, they will fail to attract the new drivers and or retain the current drivers, resulting in complaints and negative publicity. This will inevitably adversely affect the customer and business client. As urbanization increases and car ownership decreases, maintaining and growing the necessary pool of drivers will be a challenge for the TNC. Now, many people are not owning their cars, and if no one is going to own their car, then it will be the company who is going to make a huge investment. Please do not recommend, please do not recommend until adversely stated in the exhibit that we recommend that the company should own a fleet of cars, because it's a huge investment. And an operation that is currently profitable, maybe after the ownership of the car, the ROI or the payback period will not be as lucrative as it is right now in the industry. And you know the competition is at its peak. So please do not recommend that the company should buy their own fleet of cars. You can recommend any other factor. You can say that, okay, we may offer the clients to own the car on the basis of rentals or on the basis of leases. We may ask some lease companies to offer any discount, that if someone is getting a car on the basis of lease rental, he will get a discount on the ride hailing company as well, or he will get an extra bonus if he is allocating his car into this specific service. Similarly, success in the industry depends on the ability to attract the new customer, retain the existing customer, and increase their usage. Customers have a wide variety of options for transportation, including using their own vehicle, rental cars, taxi cab, public transport, and other TNC businesses. Customer preferences are likely to change over time. So TNC must continually look for new ways to appeal to new customers who have historically used other form of transportation or other TNC platforms. Safety issues have been a major challenge for the TNC industry. Now, if this is a challenge, there may be a question. Why? Because safety issue is the challenge. He may ask you that, as you know, as I have quoted, that safety is one of the biggest issue of this specific industry. Identify ways of improving this. Now, what would be your suggestion of improving the safety issue? Any one of you. And that specific suggestion is not being mentioned right now in this scenario.
Ride insurance.
Okay, ride insurance, very good. क्या policy?
Security option.
Car cams, very good, very good.
Live
Tracking, they have already live tracking along. This is the point that I wanted to hit. Live tracking along with sharing this live track to your loved ones or someone at your home. That can be a very good safety measure, or that can be a very good safety point, right? So it's safe that safety issue have been a major challenge for the TNC industry. Illegal, improper, and inappropriate activities by the customers and driver have adversely affected the reputation of the whole industry. You can assume what inappropriate activities could have been. These activities have included assault, theft, unauthorized use of credit and debit card and bank account details, and sharing of the customer and driver account information. I'm again getting a point that there may be a question relating to the big data, right? Such conducts has exposed the TNC to several high-profile lawsuits. The challenges for the TNC is to implement and continually update the sufficient measures to safeguard against illegal improper activities. Without these measures, growth and retention of the customers and qualified drivers will be a continual challenge for the TNC. The environmental impact of transportation has become a major focus for the government across the world. The transportation industry is considered to be a significant contributor to air pollution. Okay, again, there is a question on the pestle model. Air pollution and TNC activity has been cited as a cause of raising the congestion and air pollution in the urban area. These are the specific these are the specific hints that we are being given. Now, this hint will not be in the exhibit. You'll have to use this hint right from this specific paragraph. So if you're writing the pestle model, so you will write this in your in your political, economical, social, or technological social factors. Yes. Then it says several cities in the BLAN are introducing technologies again. PEST. So these are the two questions that are very easily predictable. One is the big data, the other one is the PEST model. And if they have given us the risk, then again, risk is also quite predictable. So it says technologies to manage the traffic flow and congestion, which would disrupt the services offered by the TNC. You will be amazed to see the real exam, I'm telling you. Also, clean air zones, CAZs, are being introduced in many towns and cities to improve the air quality, and fees being imposed on all drivers driving in those designated zones. So this means that there are some designated zones which we are thinking to make the clean air zones. For example, in northern area, we consider the northern area of Pakistan to be more clean as compared to the urban areas of Pakistan. So if a driver is driving in that specific zone, he will be charged an amount of money in the name of pollution charges or in the name of being penalized to drive in that specific area. Latest development. Now, these are the latest development. Food delivery. TNCs in some countries have recently started to offer a service where the customers can order food through a dedicated app. From the local and national restaurants and food outlets, orders are placed via the TNC platform. The restaurants confirm the order, prepares the food, and TNC, it's just like Food Panda, it's just like a Noon app, it's just like same as the food delivery service. Yes, yes. Like Uber. And a TNC driver picks it up and delivers the food to the selected destinations. Driverless autonomous cars. In Dubai, there are driverless police cars, and I have seen it by my own self, right? And I was amazed to see that there is a robotic mechanism who is driving the car, although they were just driving from one place to another at a very short distance. But it is a reality that they are introducing driverless police cars who are not only driving, but they are also monitoring the entire control system of the infrastructure. It says some global TNCs are currently testing the viability of driverless cars to deliver their services. But currently, all such vehicles must operate with at least one supervisory person present in the vehicle. Driverless cars can navigate to destinations, avoiding obstacles without human interventions. To accomplish this, it uses an artificially intelligent system which senses its surrounding, processes visual data to avoid collisions, steers, brake, and uses GPS to track the current location and destination. So driverless cars are right now in consideration. Currently, the driverless cars that are being tested, it still needs a human supervision. But they are of the view that in near future, they will introduce complete driverless cars for the customers, right? Electronic vehicle. Most TNCs recognizes their potentially negative impact on the environment due to the increasing mileage covered by the driver. Using fossil-fueled cars, therefore, many TNCs are now increasingly encouraging the drivers to go green and to use the EV. Key performance indicators. Now, the key performance indicator is number of active customers. Now, these are the performance indicators on the basis of which we are going to have a competitive analysis. Now, I'm getting a point that why is he giving us this information over here is because they might give you the similar information in a specific exhibit relating to one of the customers. And he may ask you that you need to evaluate both these key performance indicators of these two industries and identify how we can be we can prove ourselves to be more beneficial for the company and for the overall stakeholder community. It says that the number of customers who have used the TNC app in the specified period of time. As I have told you that I have received an email from the Uber that they are deactivating my account, this means that they are getting the real-time data as to how many customers are using their application and how many customers are satisfied or dissatisfied with the application that they have. Number of active drivers. Now, how many number of active drivers there are? The number of drivers who have been active on the TNC platform in a specified period of time is the definition of the number of drivers. Rides completed, the number of rides which have been completed through the TNC platform in a specific. I don't know why they are giving such foolish definitions, but let's move forward. In a specified period of time, revenue, the amount of money generated by the TNC from fare, commission, and other sources. So remember, so there are 2 to 3 different sources from which the drivers can basically earn. The first one is the fare, the second one is the commission fees and other sources. Net promoter score. This is important. This is something which is new that you guys must have not gone through. The customer satisfaction and loyalty rating with higher scores and indicating more satisfied and loyal customers who would recommend the TNC services to the colleague or friend. Do you remember that time when you can offer a discount to your friend when they are using the Kareem? It used to be the initial time when, let's suppose, if I'm using Kareem and I can offer a discount to my friend, this is the same thing that is net promoter score. If you promote our app and if there is a person who is using the application just because of you, he can add your promoter number or he can add your unique number and you will also get a discount. He will also be availing a specific discount. Driver satisfaction. Now, as I have told you that you need to look at the holistic view, that is the commercial acumen, not only considering the customer's experiences, but also the promo code. But also moving towards the driver's satisfaction. So over here it says the driver satisfaction level with the TNC based on the range of measures, including rate of pay, safety provisions, and level of support offered by the TNC regulation. These are currently no overall standards for which all TNCs in BLAN should adhere in terms of operational requirement, technological data, and data security. Again, there is a hint that they may ask you a question in regard with the big data, or they may ask you a question as to what threat and benefit do you feel are coming when we talk about the big data analytics, driver status, or environmental impact and expectation. In some countries, drivers have set up trade unions and drivers network association, which have enabled them to gain a collective voice. Where implemented, these have been popular with the driver, and there have been some successes in challenging. TNC through the particular country legal system on recognizing the driver's employment right. And so there may be an introduction of the driver's employment right. Maybe they may ask you that in the exhibit that there are certain new laws and regulations being implemented in the economy in relation to the driver's safety, security, and rights and status. So you need to focus on those regulations as well. Then it says BAGO's overview. BAGO's was established in BLAN 12 years ago by E.D. Foss and KL, two work colleagues who had previously set up and managed a business in BLAN. So there are basically two people who are starting up this specific company. So it's a startup company, two work colleagues who had previously set up and manage a business in BLAN. Developing mobile app for the other organization have experienced their own daily challenges in commuting and socializing in BLAN, capital city, where they lived and worked. They recognized the need for a more convenient and cost-effective transport options within BLAN city. Their initial focus was to encourage the customers to share the ride wherever possible, although ride sharing and ride hailing were both available to the customer. In the early days, operating with only a basic website and mobile app and only a few drivers, it was clear that Ed and Kim that demand for the ride sharing and ride hailing services was high. Over the next few years, supported financially by several venture capital. Okay, now this is a very, very important information, because whenever I talk about the venture capitalists, I talk about the expectation of these venture capitalists. Now, if they give you a financial analysis of this company, and it is not as promising as it is being showed in this result, and you can see that, let's suppose the other competitors are gaining good market share and we are losing the market share somehow, this will create a question as to if these venture capitalists are going to continue investing into your company, or if there is any mutual fund advisors being allocated with your company, because they will have a minimum, they will have a bare minimum uh, risk and return perspective. So it says that Diego grew rapidly by the end of 20x3. It had over 16 million active customers. It's a huge number. This is predicted to rise to 19 million by the end of 20x4. So it says that we are increasing, it says that we are growing, it says that we are growing rapidly. However, there may be some challenges in this growth as well. BACO registered and active customers, you can see we started off in 20W2 and we ended up in 20x3 with the highest number, that is 16 million. Number of cities where BACO is currently operating. Remember, it is saying number of cities, not number of countries. So we do not have any multinational branch. However, we have some national branch, that is there are more than 220 cities.
Yes. 250 cities operate.
Okay, okay.
Only Billionaire.
बहुत बड़ा number नहीं है. Ownership. I was thinking that 250 different offices, but yes, 250 cities. Ownership. Diego was listed on the Beeline stock market 5 years ago. Consider receiving the corporate governance specific question, and consider having the board construction in your exhibit. They may give you a board composition in your exhibit. It says that we became a listed company on the Beeline stock market 5 years ago. 80% of its shares are held by the large institution. This is something which I was expecting. Large institutional investor, 80%, risk appetite being dictated. Now remember one thing, in a company where the risk appetite is being dictated, this means that the company needs to focus on the short-term and long-term returns to the investors. And this also means that if the company wants to take a risk of investing into a specific proposal, they need to consider if the institutional investors are going to agree on this or not. See, they will make a question of the suggested acquisition. Now that specific acquisition will relate to you making an analysis of the company. Now, once you are making an analysis, you need to take into consideration that what the institutional shareholders are going to think about, how the institutional shareholders will respond to the specific proposal of investing into another company. How are we going to make the institutional shareholders satisfied with our forecasting? And what is the risk appetite of the institutional shareholder? What is the expectation? How much risk are they dictating us? And if the institutional shareholder withdraw their amount of money, that is equivalent to 80% of the listed shares. See, 80% of shares are held by the large institutional investors. Yes. It says 10% of shares are held by the original founders, and the remaining shares are held by small private investors. So the major shareholders are the institutional investors. So this means that the institutional investor are going to have their own CEO. Institutional investor is moreover concerned with having a good corporate governance requirement being implemented in the company as well. So expect a question on corporate governance. Expect a question on a merger and acquisition. Expect a question on risk appetite. Expect a question of how to facilitate the institutional investor. Expect a question of how the institutional investors are going to respond to a specific strategy, either to invest or to be on the back front of this specific growing market.
Agency should, for the
Yes.
original founders, only have 10%.
Only 10% is being found in the original founder's hand. It says services being offered by the Biego. Again, ride-hailing services is equivalent to 72% of the market. Business services, micro-mobility, and ride-sharing services. So business services is like the services that you offer to the business, that is B2B services, in which the services relating to the client is being offered. The ride-hailing services, the micro-mobility, the bicycle services, and the ride-sharing is the carpooling services. When it was first established, Biego focused primarily on sharing rides as the founders wanted to offer an environmentally sustainable transport solution. However, over the years, ride hailing has become increasingly popular with customers who want to get from point A to B without sharing their ride with another customer. Currently, over 70% of the Biego's revenues are generated from the ride hailing services. Ride sharing is still demanded by the customer, particularly students and lower income customers, but currently only generate 12% of the Biego's revenue. Micro mobility. 5 years ago, Biego acquired a national micro mobility business. Okay, so this means that acquisition is your domain. You know how acquisition work. This is not the first time. If the examiner says that you are about to acquire another company, this is not the first time you'll be acquiring a company, because you have a history of acquiring the companies. So it says national micro mobility business, enabling it to offer few customers a new service of bicycle hire. The environmentally friendly transport option has proved to be. Now you will also be connecting this to the CSR strategy, right? You will also be connecting this to the CSR strategy, that is corporate social responsibility. And even in this scenario, I think so that the integrated reporting will also have a substantial position, because they are investing in some way or the other in the human capital. They need to invest in the machinery as well. They need to invest in the environment as well. They are investing in the social capital. So this means that integrated reporting question can also be the part of the scenario. Again, I can relate to the entire syllabus and bring it in some way or the other to the specific pre-seed. And this is how we predict, right? And at the end of the day, my prediction work, right? So moving forward, the environmentally friendly transport options have proved to be very popular with the customers in the BLAN in the last 2 years. Biego has invested significantly in additional infrastructure to support the growing demand for the services. Currently, Biego operates the micromobility services for over 100 cities across the BLAN, and it has over 9 million active users of its micromobility scooters or services. There is an investment in the integrated capital. Which integrated capital are they investing? Manufactured capital. They are investing in the infrastructure of making the mobility scooters, or making the availability of the mobility scooters. So remember, there is a possibility of integrated reporting as well, right? I'm not saying that they are producing the mobility scooter, but mobility scooter may not be in the ownership of third party. They are basically investing in buying the mobility scooters themselves and then producing it for the customers, right? Business services. 2 years ago, Biego partnered with several national organizations to transport their staff from the workplace and meeting events and into the transport customers and clients to and from the meeting, hotels, airport, train, and bus station. Technology used by Biego. Manufactured capital, social capital, ecological capital, human capital, technology capital. We are financial capital. We are investing in the integrated reporting as well, or the sixth capital of integrated reporting. So expect a very good question on the basis of integrated. Biego uses several different technologies to facilitate its operation. Website and mobile app, these are the front-end technologies which are used to interact with the customers and drivers. Payment processing softwares, again, a software, and again, this software may be integrated with some environmental effect. This software may be integrated with some health and safety effect. This software may be integrated with the requirement of legislations. So if this is going to be integrated, remember the pre-scene question that we have already done, right? Sorry, the peel sleep question that we have already done. This software system processes the automatic payment from the customers on completion of each ride. In addition, the system processes the weekly payment made direct to the driver's bank account based on the ride completed and the percentage of the ride price earned by the driver. Customers and database and drivers database. Again, a question on databases, on big data. Biego database collects and manages drivers and customer data, including. Now, why they have specifically giving you this information? Because they may be asking you, what are the threats of getting the customer data? Now, if you're going to write a generic answer, it is going to be a failure. So you need to remember, you need to make sure that you remember that this is the specific data that they are holding for the customer, and how can this data become a threat for the company, right? So customer name, address, email addresses, and date of birth and mobile phones are being used. Now, why are they using this date of birth of the customers?
Customer profile, age, demographic.
Yes, in order to use the demographics, in order to have an age profiling of the young generation who are using these services and older, so that they can do the marketing stuff as well. Yes, customer segmentation. बिल्कुल सही कह रहे. Bank and credit card details needed to pay for each. This is one of the most important security risks that you need to deal with. I'm assuming that this risk should be dealt if there is a question relating to the risk of customer data security and breaches. Because they may give you several instances in which data security breaches attempts have been conducted in the curve. So they may give you an exhibit stating that, okay, there are certain data security breaches that are being conducted historically. So what policies can the company implement in order to reduce these breaches? Customer rides completed, start and end point, duration and time. Driver's name, addresses, driving license, details, insurance detail, car registration number, bank details, driver ride completed, average ride time, and driver rating. GPS software. Biego uses sophisticated GPS software system to accurately map the position of its customer and driver. The software can pinpoint the customers when they request a ride and then pinpoint their final destination. This software is also used to calculate the optimum route of the driver to reach the customer and their destinations. Customers have access to the GPS information to give them live information about their ride, and drivers have access to the information to locate the customer and then follow the recommended route to the destination. Biego has commercial agreement. What do you understand by the word commercial agreement? Basically, a profit-oriented agreement. Biego has a commercial agreement with the Beeline-based cloud services provider to deliver and host the Biego's technology platform. Biego technology platform is critical in enabling the millions of rides undertaken every day, and it also provides insight which Biego uses to develop its technology further. It uses its historical and real-time data to continuously improve the experience of the driver and customers by analyzing the data covering the ride life cycle. So they may ask you that how can this data be beneficial for the company in order to have an analysis in regard with the recurring customers? How can this data be beneficial for the company? How can the data that you have collected from the customer be beneficial for the company in order to increase the number of sales? Or how will you be formularizing or making some policies in order to increase the number of footfall in the company? Yes, any one of you. Which data will be useful? As we have told right now, that the age profiling will help us in getting the direct marketing and reducing the marketing cost. Track routes of the customer will let us know the peak time of a specific route so that we can make more and more cars available at that specific point of time. Yes. Waiting time for the customer will help us in notifying that the riders are not performing well or how many riders are up to their mark. The updating of the new services.
In which area or which cities?
In which area or which cities are the most customers being using our services? Which customer feedback may be a parameter to identify the great. So there may be a question in this regard as well.
Average time of ride.
Good. Okay. Then moving forward. I'm just talking about Hawa. Moving forward. Okay. Biego Biego has a commercial agreement with the Beeline-based cloud service provider to deliver and host the Biego's technology platform. Biego technology platform is critical in enabling the millions of rides undertaken every day, and it also provides insight which Biego uses to develop its technology further. It uses its historical and real-time data to continuously improve the experiences for the drivers and customers by analyzing the data covering the ride life cycle, from where the drivers go online and customers request the ride, to when they match, which route they take, and feedback given after the ride. Using machine learning capabilities, machine learning, big data, distributed ledger, blockchain. Machine learning, big data, distributed ledger, blockchain. All these factors are going to have some connection with the scenario. When which route they take, and the feedback given by the end of the ride by using the machine learning capabilities. Now, this is what machine learning is. There may be a question that identify how machine learning can impact the profitability of the company. Machine learning is just providing the data to the machine, that is the computer machine, and helping the machine to analyze that data so that specific repetitive ride customers are being identified. We may offer them loyalty discounts. The highly populated areas are being identified, so we can increase the fleet of the cars. The areas where the most number of drivers are registered, so we can have some registration booths over there. So this is how the machine learning is going to increase the profitability of the company. It says, Biego can predict future behavior based on many years of historical data to inform and enhance its service development. Biego relies significantly on technology to attract new drivers and customers through videos, social media, email, search engine optimization, keyword searches, and traditional promotion, such as TV and radio. Biego engages with its current customers through a variety of online media, including email, in-app notification, social media contents. Biego marketing messages is "We go with Biego." We go with Biego. Biego staff function, research and design, that is 1127, 22%. Product management, 820, 16%. Data sciences and technology, 14%. Customer services, 14%. Legal safety, 12%. Sales and marketing, 10%. Finance, 5%. Human resource, 4%, and others, 3%. Now, do you think that we need to increase the staff in some sector, in some functions? I guess the customer services staff should be increased, because the research and design, now there may be an exhibit stating that what actually the research and design services or function actually does, because that is the highest number of staff in a particular company. In this particular company, we have the highest number of staff in this specific function or department. So what you understand by the word research and development, maybe is this research relating to the marketing? Is this research relating to the customer's experience? Is this research relating to the introduction of new businesses into the company? What I think is that this research will have a major domain of introducing new businesses into the company. And remember, new businesses means the acquisition strategy or a merger strategy, and a merger strategy or an acquisition strategy means the SFA model, and the SFA model means that you are moving towards another country or another company, and the another country or another company will align with the company's strategic business unit, integrating with the company, increasing the revenue profitability. Then Biegos employ over 5,000 staff in 60 locations across the Beeline. Over 50 years of its staff are employed in research and design. Over 50% of the staff are employed in the research and design, product management, and data sciences and technology. Senior leadership, non-executive chairperson, chief executive officer, CEO, chief finance officer, CFO, chief technology officer, chief commercial officer, chief people officer, chief marketing officer, and 6 non-executive directors. Remember one thing. I guess there should be another director as well. That is the chief safety officer. There is no chief safety officer. They need to include a safety officer. That is an HR officer, not the safety. Chief people officer is an HR officer, not the safety. I guess there should be an inclusion of chief safety officer because this is a highly vulnerable company where the safety of, it's not just the safety in terms of the number of accidents. I'm talking about the safety in terms of the data security as well, or maybe a chief data security officer. All that?
All that.
Okay. Extracts from the Biego's risk register. So they have also given us the extract from the Biego's risk register. Remember, there may be a possibility. There may be a okay. There may be a possibility that these are the 3 risks that are these are the risks that is already being identified. They may ask you what is the impact of the risk. Now, if in exhibit there is no let's suppose there is no information given about the risk, and the question says that the risks that are already being identified in the pre-scene, please explain what is the impact and benefit, then that is the only point where you are going to open this pre-scene and directly reach to this page. You'll have to remember this page that there's a risk profiling or a risk register or an extract from the risk register being given to us. This is the only page that you will read during your exam if you come across a question and there is no exhibit given in regard with this risk. Risk category, reputation, brand, and culture. Okay, please. Reputation, brand, and culture. Building a strong reputation and brand as a safe and affordable service is critical to our availability to attract and retain qualified drivers and customers. Negative perception of Biego, which may harm our reputation and brand, include illegal, negligent, or reckless behavior by drivers and customers. There is a possibility that the question may ask you that who additional directors should be included in the board of directors. So there may be a board of director with the name of chief safety director, and there used to be a chief safety director in many different companies that are vulnerable to such accidents and data securities. Then concerns of the customers and drivers about safety. Disruption. Now there should also be a specific insurance department in the company that deals with the constant insurances, because they must be receiving some constant insurance claims. Do you know that even in Pakistan, the BIKIA, they provide you the insurance? For example, if you have an ride insurance, if you have an accident during your ride, you can ask the BIKIA's individual to provide you an insurance amount, and that is equivalent to 300,000 rupees in terms of a minor accident and 10,000 rupees in terms of a major accident. So they normally offer this type of insurance, and each and every ride-hailing company will be having an insurance department as well. But for that, you'll have to take on the insurance policy and you'll have to pay an amount of money as a premium, right? It says, building a strong reputation and brand as a safe and affordable service is critical to our availability to attract and retain qualified drivers and customers. Negative perception of Biego, which may harm our reputation and brand, include illegal, negligent, and reckless behavior of the driver, concerns about the customers and drivers about the safety, disruptions of or defects in or our platforms, such as the privacy or data security breaches or outages, which impact the reliability of our services, failure to operate consistently with our values and mission, failure to maintain a culture which employees value and wish to work with it. Technological infrastructure. Our business involves the collection, storage, and processing of customer and drivers' personal data. I'm getting a point that, okay, they may include a question on big data analytics, its security breaches, and its advantages. Or we also maintain confidential and sensitive information relating to our businesses. Therefore, our systems are vulnerable to security incidences or incidents and breaches, as the techniques used to obtain the unauthorized access or sabotage system change frequently. We may be unable to anticipate or prevent such attack. We also rely on our third-party cloud service provider to ensure that it maintains sufficient investment in the system security and reliability. Competition. The TNC market is highly competitive and characterized by rapid changes in technology. We expect competition to continue both from current competitors and new entrants in the market. New entrants, this means that there's a possibility of buying out, there's a possibility of getting into a merger arrangement with another company. If we are unable to anticipate or successfully react to these competitive challenges, our competitive position could weaken. What are the factors that the company should consider when making a competitive analysis? This may be a question that may be asked in your real exam scenario. How can you analyze yourself in this highly competitive market, which means that you need to do the analysis in the form of PEST, or it may say that what are the factors that contribute well in your success, then you may go for the Potter's diamond model as well, right? If we are or our drivers do not comply with the license arrangement, or other transport providers put pressure on the local authorities to prevent us from receiving these licenses to operate, this will severely restrict our business. Similarly, increasing regulation of the TNC industry related to its impact on the environment and increased safety requirements for both the consumers and the driver is expected and will continue to increase our cost. Biego's website, extract, mission. I'm getting a point that they have given you mission, vision, and values. So they will say that in consideration with the mission, vision, and value, identify the success factor, right? So you'll have to consider this mission statement while you are writing your answer. Now, if you are going to read this once, twice, thrice, you will remember this was the mission, this was the vision, and this was the ethical value that is being presented by the code. Now, after this class and after today's class, what you need to do, you need to go back home, take a rest of 1 or 2 hours, and start reading this scenario, this pre-scene once again before coming into tomorrow's class. In tomorrow's class, we will be doing the detailed analysis of pre-scene. I'll be providing you a handout in which each and every topic is connected in some way or the other. So we will be doing the detailed analysis. It will take at least 1 or 2 more classes to do the detailed analysis, and then we'll move towards the practice question, right? It says mission: to provide the communities with affordable, accessible, and sustainable transport. Vision: a world where transport technology works seamlessly to bring the people, business, and communities together. Our ethical code of conduct ensure that we maintain our focus on operating to the highest ethical and professional standards. Our focus is also on the safety of our customers, drivers, and community that we work. Now, their focus is on the safety. So they should have a safety director. Their focus is on the customers' data. So they should have a data breach contract. They should have a data specific firewalls being installed in their specific company where the data is being stored. Committed to safety. Committed to safety. We value, I've heard this word in other PD scene as well. Committed to safety was their basic domain of, working in this industry. So it says, we value the safety of our customers and drivers. To protect them, we implement a range of safety features. Annual background check on every driver are carried out by a third party. So there may be a question that this committed to safety information that has already been given to you guys, how can you use this information in order to give the customer a satisfaction level or in order to boost the confidence of the customer that they are working right now using the services of a highly ethical and a competitive business practice company? So there may be a question in this specific exhibit as well. Annual background checkups on every driver are carried out by the third-party expert. Continuous criminal monitoring means drivers are with disqualifying criminal convictions are removed from the platforms immediately. Drivers must complete a safety program annually, which includes how to create a safe and comfortable ride, appropriate conversions topic, and respecting the personal boundaries. Now, remember one thing: there may be a question that is this training element beneficial for the company. So you may also write that there is a cost element on this training that is being given to the driver in order to bring the appropriate level of conduct of these drivers as well. So there will be a cost involved in training these drivers as well. It says, if a customers or driver feel uncomfortable or need emergency assistance at any point, they can instantly connect with our security team through an in-app help button 24/7. Customers have access to a friend and family notification system. Again, this is where we are sharing, right? Which can notify designated customers' context of the detail of ride in progress. Most of our drivers' vehicle have been equipped with camera to record the rides to protect both customers and drivers. Data privacy and the storage and usage of our customer data is the top priority. All customers' contact details, ride, and payment information are considered classified data, and we fully comply with all the BLN's legislation in terms of the data privacy, storage, and usage. We also expect our cloud services provider to operate to the same standards in terms of the protecting and managing our customers' personal data. At the end of each ride, drivers and customers must rate their ride. Any customers or driver who submit a rating below 80% satisfaction is prompted to provide more details. So if you are selecting that, okay, the overall experience of the ride was 70%, so you'll have to provide more details. There's a specific box that is being given in order to provide more detail as to what went wrong and why have you not given us more than 80% in the specific satisfaction code. Committed to the environment. Pestle model. Primary concern of the government and communities we serve is the level of harmful emission in the Beelan's town and cities. We are aware that our businesses is a contributor to these emissions. Therefore, we are committed to reducing our impact in several ways. We encourage customers to select shared rides and micro-mobility options wherever possible. We continue to invest further in our micro-mobility infrastructure across the Beelan. We have launched an in-app feature for the customers to be able to request ride in electric or hybrid vehicle instead of fossil-fueled vehicles. As we do not own the vehicle used by our drivers, we will continue to find ways to incentives more drivers to use their more environmentally sustainable vehicle, such as assisting our drivers in making contacts with electric car rental businesses. BA goals key performance indicator. You can see that in 20x3, the revenue have surpassed the all-time high, that is around $850 million. Active customers have also increased. Obviously, it is on the basis of customers, not on the basis of the price increment. Rides completed are also, obviously, when the active customers are increasing, the ride completed is all. Percentage of revenue per service. The percentage of revenue per service, ride hailing is the highest. Sorry, ride sharing is, so the ride hailing have the highest or the top-notch revenue stream in all the years. However, the ride sharing is continuously decreasing. In fact, in 20x3, it has reached near to the micro mobility, and that is our objective, right? That is our no. Our objective is to reduce the ride hailing and move towards ride sharing and micro mobility. Our first parameter is to move towards the ride sharing, and our utmost parameter is to move towards the micro mobility services, right? And business services will have no impact on increasing or decreasing the pollution in the environment. Net promoter score, average industry score. Now, what is a net promoter score? Customer loyalty, word of mouth, how many customers are recommending us. So our net promoter score is it is less than our first year. However, it is increasing than the industry average. It is always better than the industry average, apart from the fact that only in 20x2 it was near to the industry average, but in 20x3 it is more than the industry average. So it's going good. Driver satisfaction rate, in 20x3, the driver satisfaction rate is decreasing. Now, there may be a question, why is it the fact that the driver satisfaction rate is decreasing continuously, and what measures can you take in order to increase the driver satisfaction rate to your utmost level? Is it clear? Is it good to go with? Okay, so the entire pre-scene that has been given to us, the entire scenario that has been given to us, it is one of the most, I guess, one of the most easiest one. It is one of the most easiest one. I don't think so that there is any further requirement of research and analysis to be done in this industry. You all must have practically gone through such industries in your daily life. It's just a commute-based industry. However, remember that this is just a background of what you are going to receive in your real exam scenario. In your real exam scenario, you will be receiving some exhibits, and you need to have a clear cut background of what the industry was and what the basic company was. So now you have a background. Now you know how the company works. Now you know how the industry works. Now you know how old we are. Now you know who was the oldest one. Now you know how much market share do we own in this specific time, and you know each and everything. So this pre-scene will help you in developing a very clear insight. In tomorrow's class, what we are going to do, we are going to have a detailed analysis. I'll bring a printed form of analysis in which we will try to connect the entire syllabus area through this pre-scene. Again, it is not a clear-cut 100% what do I call? It's not a clear-cut 100% assurance from my side that only those questions will be asked in your examination. However, I think that there is a fair possibility of many topics being tested from the analysis that we are going to discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow's class will be from 5:45 to 9:30, right? Tomorrow's class will be from 5:45 to 6 ही हो जाते हैं 6 तक कर okay 6 5:45 to 9:30, and we will start at 5:45. We'll start it early because that analysis is of 30 pages, around 30 pages, right? So please make sure that you are there. Please make sure that you do it very well, right? Thank you so much for today's class. We'll be meeting tomorrow.